What is the creepiest, most disturbing internet rabbit hole you've gone down, and why? Please do like, share, and subscribe. A list of really violent tornadoes. For some reason I was interested in the science surrounding tornadoes, and I found a list of some of the most violent tornadoes ever recorded. It's actually really creepy once you read into it. The worst one was a tornado in Gerald, Texas in 1997, where they had trouble identifying human from animal remains, and some people were simply never found. That same tornado destroyed every storm shelter in its path, and there was a 0% survival rate in the worst hit neighborhood. There's something deeply unsettling about the fact that even people who thought they were safe and should have been safe ended up being killed. I forgot his name, but the one older dude who ran a YouTube account where he would vlog himself smoking a lot of cigarettes every day and wouldn't stop, even when he was diagnosed with cancer due to smoking cigarettes. Each video, you watch his health slowly deteriorate, and if you watch his first and last vids, he looks like a completely different person. The worst part? Everyone in the comments are cheering him on because it's sort of a fetish account for destroying your body. There was even one boy who emulated him and wanted to do the same to himself. MKUltra brainwashing and CIA videos and reports. I forget where I originally stumbled on it, probably a thread on /x/, but it was just a bunch of declassified documents. There were a few links in the post content. One led to an old GeoCities looking blog that some woman was running. She was a doctorate, but I forgot the field. Her blogs were basically months of confessions of what was going on in the CIA. She then went off radar for the better part of the year, and the blogs started back up again, except now they were getting bizarre. She had full-blown paranoia, and the verbiage dissolved from mostly coherent to absolute incoherent over the course of a few months. The anon that was doing the data dump also put some declassified documents that had the woman listed by name in several areas. I cannot remember her name, but she went by first, middle, and last in all instances, Sarah or Sandra or something. The theory is that the CIA discredited her by making her sound like a rambling lunatic as controlled disinformation rather than simply nuke the blog, lend credence to the conspiracy theorists. Scary stuff. There were other documents pertaining to demons, aliens, mind control, all sorts of bizarre things. The craziest part, they are actually declassified documents from the US government. They aren't fabricated. They're totally accessible to anyone willing to spend time looking for them in public archives. Chris Chan. Basically, this mentally disabled guy badly drawing comics about his Sonic Pikachu crossover OC and posting them online. But 4chan found out about him, and people started harassing him, trying to find out information about him, contacting him, etc. They found out where he lived and everything about him, and started messing with him for fun. Someone even pretended to be a girl romantically interested in him, pretending to be his girlfriend, and then eventually told him it was all a fake. Drove him deeper into being violent and obsessive, and he was already showing warning signs of sexually predatory behavior. Last I heard, he was arrested for doing things with his mother, and the person who recorded him talking about it and contacted the police had apparently been encouraging him to do it. People are horrible. Went down the Sylvia Likens rabbit hole, basically a murder case where she and her disabled sister were tortured by their neighbor and her kids' friends for months on end while their parents were away on a business trip. I remember reading about it when I was 12 or 13 and wondering how she was tortured. She was forced to eat so much mustard she threw up, and was forced to eat everything she threw up. They weren't allowed to use bathrooms. She had the word slut carved into her body multiple times and forced to sit under scalding hot water, and then her wounds would be salted. She was forced to shove glass Coke bottles up her genitals and was on multiple occasions other than this sexually humiliated. The neighbor, Gertrude's daughter Paula, once broke her wrist from beating Sylvia so hard. She forced Sylvia's sister Jenny to beat Sylvia, resulting in Jenny being beaten if she didn't comply. They put out lit cigarettes on her skin over 100 times. There is so much more, and honestly, it's disgusting. Indiana considered it their worst crime. I honestly wouldn't recommend reading further into this as it gave me nightmares for months on end. She later died from malnutrition, shock, and subdural hematoma. There's a website called Without Sanctuary that collected and displayed lynchings in America. I think much of it has been turned into a book, so the site doesn't have all that it used to. A not quite relative, first wife of an ancestor, so not directly related to me as I am descended from the second wife's family, had a photo studio at the turn of the century. One of the photographs was credited to that studio on the back of the photo. It was common back then to photograph and sell postcards of hangings and lynchings like souvenirs. It was surreal to see that name on the photo, knowing they very likely made money off photographing a lynching. This was a few months ago, but there's a YouTube channel named Inside a Mind. This channel covers lots of ARGs. Now, this is not the creepiest ARG I've seen, but it is very disturbing now. I can't remember the name of the channel it was on because it's deleted now, but that channel would make false statements, saying creatures were going to get him or something like that. But back to the story. The creator would proceed to make more videos about the creatures until eventually it started to get popular. That is where it starts to get bad. People believed the fake videos, and they somehow found the address and started to come to the house to protect him. It got so bad, the channel had to be deleted. P.S. This is my first post, so hopefully it's okay. And if you want more information, go to Inside a Mind. There are two stories I have, although the second is rather short. I found a website and Discord of a typical "the world will end on X day" cult once, but with a very modern look to it and mostly people in their early 20s and late teens. I decided to infiltrate it with a friend of mine and her brother, and while I had to stop the work on it at one point, she managed to get into the inner circle of it. This all ended quite unspectacular though, when people just simply lost their interest in it and it all died a bit, so we didn't even need to expose everything and destroy the cult. Now the server is 100% dead and the website is offline. That's the end of the story. As for the second story, there was a girl I knew sending me DMs on Discord while having a mental breakdown because she found a CP Tumblr. From what I've heard of Tumblr, it could have just been some hentai, so I checked it before going to the FBI, and well, it wasn't hentai. Seeing the front page and first posts was more than enough. Scrolling down wasn't needed. It still makes me feel sick to this day, but the worst was that all of it was shared many thousands of times. So if you ever find that, don't report it to Tumblr or the website, but straight to the FBI. Tumblr would have probably just deleted the blog and that's it. Trigger warning, grooming. A kid I knew in middle school, special needs, told me at the end of the year that she made a YouTube channel and was making gaming videos. I shrugged and said, okay, I'll check it out. And yeah, they were all low quality videos. No capture card software, just pointing a camera at a screen and commentating over N64 games. Nothing offensive really, but nothing amazing. Fast forward to start of junior year of high school. I decided to look back on the kid's channel since she moved after middle school and didn't come to our high school. I remember the name of the channel vaguely and find it. What I found and the rabbit hole I went down was both comedic, shocking, and often horrifying. The kid had 500 plus subs on his channel. Her gaming vids would usually never be seen, but when she posts vlogs or videos unrelated to gaming, those would perform higher. Many of the vlogs of mention included her just talking about her life, her disability, and the fact that she was trans, MTF. However, I found out that there was a small group of people who were making videos antagonizing her and her channel in an attempt to get reactions out of her. These were also low quality, but they utilized actual editing software. The kid was also active on Google Plus back when it was still there, and group would follow her there too, antagonizing her and poking fun. I'm a pretty sympathetic person, so I felt really sorry for the kid. Nobody should have to go through this level of bullying, but my interest was already caught and I went a bit deeper, only to find out the reason as to why the group of people were attacking her. The kid wasn't any better than the people attacking her. She was incredibly manipulative, scummy, and depraved. She ran a Discord server that was open to everybody, and according to one of the people in that group, she would do not safe for work role-playing with people, including minors. There was also barely any age restriction on that channel, so everyone had access to the not safe for work channels. Everybody in that server turned a blind eye to the obvious dangers present in the server, as if they didn't see it. On Google Plus, she was dating an underage girl, and according to her, the relationship was incredibly toxic and manipulative. She believed that she was being groomed by the kid, and seeing it now, it most definitely was. Also, the kid would write stories and make art, which were also on Google+. that included the likeness of real people she knew, including a few friends of mine, since we used to know each other. As expected, she dropped pornography of them, which made me especially uncomfortable. I decided to hop out of that rabbit hole after I graduated high school, seeing how it didn't go any deeper than that. The group of people attacking her also stopped around the same time. The kid lives far from me now, and has probably started college just like I did. I still think about that kid, what she did, and what others did to her. Last time I checked in on her, she still makes videos, just at a slower pace. That's as far as I'm willing to go. I could say a lot, but my thumbs hurt from typing. Also, I won't give the name of the person or channel because I think it's best if I let it die. Fine. I tell you the story of a demonic manga and how I found it. So, one day I'm sitting in bed, bored. I thought, Sod, let's go read some hentai. Sure enough, I do. I'm looking through the tags and come across vampire. Cool. I think vampire hentai. Then, there was the other tag attached to it, Gore. Remember that for later. I read this vampire hentai and pretty dope, quite kinky and a bit violent. I enjoyed the read and think, let's see what stuff comes under Gore. And there it was, a wired image of a girl in meat hooks with an inflated stomach. I thought, how bad could this possibly be? Oh, how fucking wrong I was. I looked at the tags, every taboo under the sun, from incest to necro, Gore, and so on. I think, how bad? I start reading it, and every page I read just gets worse and worse and worse, till we reach part 2. Surely, one stops reading after he knocked up his sister. Well, part 1 was bad. But part 2, well, fuck, this is where things go beyond twisted. So his sister has the incest baby, and, well, he decides he's gonna give a late abortion and cuts its head off. His sister loses her mind fully. She basically stops living, and he wants to plow her even though she's not with the living. Yeah, it's gory and dark and darker, until he ends himself and ends up in meat hooks on a table. This is something people really read. I can't remember ones I remember watching, but the most disturbing one I've seen recently is Petscop. Yes, the one that Pyro Cynical made. Please don't attack me. It's the part when Pyro talks about Candace Newmaker and the attachment therapy, 40 minutes in the video, which from the video it says to simulate a birth, and where Cadence laid on a pillow and 4 adults sat on her. While this was happening, Candace was asked over and over, do you want to be born or do you want to die? And Candace was crying out that she was dying, but they said, you want to die? Okay, then die. Die right now. And mocked Candace by saying, quitter, 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 quit, 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 quit. She's a quitter. And Candace died 40 minutes in with her saying, no. She was brought back to life, but brain dead, and was taken off life support days later. This part was disturbing, as this was a real event and was referenced in Petscop 43 minutes in, and it says, Tiara says that people can be psychologically damaged beyond rebirthing, which the therapy was meant to simulate rebirthing, and Tiara was Candace's original middle name before being changed. There was also a mirror room with you, and a mirror version of you, but as a girl, and there were words at the bottom of the room, which in the reflection side says quitter's room, which is the same word that mocked Candace. The next part is an object in a room. This is explained in the video and would be difficult to explain it. And you can talk to it, Paul, the person in the gameplay, as the object questions like, who am I? To be responded with, Newmaker, and asked another question, when we are. The object says, under the Newmaker plane. Another thing I'll say is that Petscop was made in 1997, and Candace died in 2000, which you know would be impossible to predict. This is all I can say, as I didn't put anything that would have had me put more info into this, so apologies. I understood like 8 words in that. U/spontaneous H post history was a pretty sad glimpse into the progression of a heroin addiction. I also had a phase back in high school of watching gore videos, so I've seen 2 guys, 1 ice pick, 2 guys, 1 hammer, a cartel video of some dudes skinning a guy alive, a video of an ISIS slaughterhouse where they hung dudes upside down and then slit their throats and drained all their blood, beheading videos, mass shooting videos. Worst one was the New Zealand one. Mass executions, some dudes in Brazil emptying a full mag from a handgun into the back of some dude's head, And at one point, I think I stumbled across some old silent films where a guy hanged a bunch of orphan children in real life in order to make his movie more realistic. I was kind of a fucked up kid, and as a result, I'm pretty desensitized to just about anything violent. Genital mutilation is basically the only thing I'm squeamish about. I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, but I remember looking through my Instagram stories and someone had reposted about some website that was posting softcore CP, and I decided to find the website to help mass report it. It was pretty awful, but after reporting it, I tried messing around with it to see what else the site had, and I had noticed at the bottom they had a ton of links that were affiliate links. I remember a couple of those were broken or didn't work, but I distinctly remember one of them being pictures of children from a nudist beach or something, and the comments on those were absolutely vile. I ended up reporting this site too, but the more I kept clicking on these affiliate links, the worse it got. At some point, it got so bizarre that it would take me to a page that was bombarded with GIFs and anime or cartoons, and every time you clicked one, it would take you to some kind of file-sharing website that had absolute masses of CP. It was disgusting, and I eventually just felt sick and gave up trying to report them all. I can't remember what any of the sites are called or how long ago this even was. I feel absolutely sick when I think about this, and I think about it a lot. I hope to everyone out there that these sites are gone.